Hello, BookTube. It's Louise, the Big Head Bookworm. Lovely to see you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good day wherever it is you are and whatever it is you're doing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a good day. I was just thinking when I was saying that, and I was thinking about it this morning, that there is a fine line between saying something which is comforting, you repeat it and it's comforting, and it breeds a sense of community and a sense of togetherness, and then there's repeating it and it becomes a bit boring. And so I always say to Benedict on a Friday, have a great Friday. Are you looking forward to your Friday? And I felt this morning, he just went, yep. I thought, I've gone over that line, haven't I? I've become that mother who says things and their child goes, yep, okay. Thanks for that, Mum. Moving on. So, hello, it is Friday the 22nd of March. What a week it's been. Here we are in Brexit land. We're all about the Brexit in this household. We watch the coverage most nights about Parliament. Parliament had been doing some votes, and then the Speaker got involved, and then it was at the European Summit yesterday, which has ended today. So if you're in Europe land, you will know about that because your leaders would have been going to the summit, and our Prime Minister went and then came back this morning, scootled back this morning to Parliament to try and make up with all the MPs that she highly insulted by accusing them for being the ones that were putting all of this in, all of the chaos that we are politically in, and all the uncertainty about what's going to happen on March the 30th. She basically accused the members of Parliament. It was their doing, and they were being obstreperous and what have you, and has caused all sorts of terribleness by that. So MPs have been getting death threats, and one MP was advised not to go home to her constituency home because of the threats that she's been receiving. I mean, it just, oh my word. So next Friday, friends, we will find out. There's supposed to be more meaningful votes. I've just been listening to a podcast, Brexit Cast, which I believe I mentioned last week, and I've been listening to that and catching up with that and finding out all the details because I listen to that on a daily basis. And then watching all the news about what's happening in Mozambique and Zimbabwe. Oh, have you heard? I mean, I actually saw somebody who lives in Germany say, I've not even heard that this has been going on. So there was a cyclone which hit earlier this week and has caused the most tremendous flooding. I mean, biblical wiping out of entire regions. I mean, they were talking like they've got an inland sea in Zimbabwe and in Mozambique, places that just do not are not built for that kind of amount of water. Where the water goes, the water will come back, and it's devastating when you hear what's been happening there, and then you just wonder about this world at the moment. You really do. So I have retreated, I will be honest, I have retreated quite heavily to my books for comfort, and been quite interesting. Laundry-wise, just for those people that are interested in the laundry news, it's been a great week for laundry. It's been bright but windy, so we've had some good laundry. We have only one garment on the line over there, but it's a delicate nature, so we will draw a veil over that. Apart from that, no, not at all. I did post a picture of some of my laundry on Instagram, which you are more than welcome to follow me there and have a little chat. And somebody, quite a few people said, now did you pre-peg? No, I didn't. I did consider it, but no, I still need to give myself a pegging apron, countrywoman's apron, so that I can then feel like I've levelled up my laundry. So no, laundry is we just draw a delicate, discreet veil over today's laundry. Very nice, madam. So yes, why are you here? You're here because of the books. That's why you're here. Let's talk about the books, shall we? Because it's Friday Reads. It's Friday Reads. It's Friday Reads. I'm here with a cup of tea. It's Friday Reads. So what have I been reading this? So last week I didn't know what I was going to read because I was all of a, and still am. I still am. I think the world is in such a state. And if you want to read some of the comments that people left last week, they were very heartfelt, and I was truly grateful for everybody that reached out and the comments that they left, and people were sharing. And there were 1 or 2 comments from people that actually live in New Zealand reaching out and sharing what they'd felt, and that was really lovely. So thank you very much for that. And I think it's good that we kind of share as much, share as much as we are willing to, and what have you. And if you wish to be open about these things, then that's lovely, and this is a safe place for that. So that was really lovely. So I think there are a lot of people that have been reaching for comfort stuff. So I reached for very blue edition, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, J.K. Rowling. So the previous Sunday, sorry, went a bit dark there. Previous Sunday, the husband and Benedict and I had gone to the Warner Brothers studio tour of Harry Potter, and it is just outside Watford, and which was just over an hour's drive away from here. And we got tickets for our Christmas present from the in-laws, so that was glorious. 3 of us hadn't been before. It was our first times. We had the 5 o'clock tour. I don't know what time they start, but I think the last one you can get is 7 o'clock. It takes, they say, kind of between 3 and 4 hours to go round, and we were just over 3 hours, and we missed loads just to get through it. I was wondering whether 5:30 was a terrible time to go, but actually pretty good, because it starts to thin out because you haven't got all the tours coming through. So it really did start to feel like it was thinning out, and it wasn't like a throng of people. And I mean, they obviously keep it quite, keep a close eye on the numbers, but it does sell out, so it is like at full capacity all the time. But going for the later ones, it does really start to thin out, and you manage to get you felt like you had room to move and room to see stuff. There was so much to see. I did wonder what it was going to be like, and the husband said by the first bit, won't go into what it is, but the first bit, and then you go through, he said that it already exceeded his expectations. He was just like, this is just, okay, we're done. This is brilliant. And there was stuff that Benedict could do, and we could watch him doing it, and there was stuff to try and spot. Benedict loves trying to spot things. He is an absolute finisher. He has to do all of it. And the people there that you can go up and ask questions are just kind of facilla actors, or whatever they're called. They were just great, and they really wanted to be involved as well. So we came away in just the best mood about Harry Potter. And so we started listening to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on the way home. Start at the beginning. So I continued with that, and that has been a real comfort listen throughout this week. So I've had Stephen Fry reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. This is my Ravenclaw edition of it. We have got all 4 editions, and you get, look at that. There we go. So that's my Ravenclaw editions of that. And then for actual reading with my R's, I actually picked up this. Harry Potter, A Journey Through a History of Magic. So this came out to explore an extraordinary collection of magical artefacts featured in the British Library's exhibition, Harry Potter, A History of Magic. So it is connected to that. And we never managed to get to the exhibition. It had sold out whenever I was trying to get tickets. The only tickets we could get were times that we couldn't get to. And then it closed, and so we never got to it. But I did get the book that goes along with it, and I kind of flicked through it. So it looks all like this, and there's lots of pictures and kind of information about all the aspects of the different magic, and then there are things from that J.K. Rowling's actual notes, and kind of the first writing of certain certain scenes, and so you get to see the kind of behind the scenes kind of stuff, and you get lots of, which I thought was quite fascinating, J.K. Rowling's actual drawings. So her That's her kind of layout of what Hogwarts is. And so some of this, she was actually sketching. She's a decent artist, actually. She was sketching people and she's sketching ideas because she wanted, I think, partly to make it consistent, but also because she just wanted to see what these people that she had, look at that, in her mind. So that's one of her sketches. So it's got lots and lots of stuff like that in it, and it's really good. But I thought it was very much a flicky look through book. I didn't think it was a ready book, but because we'd been to the studio tour and I was listening to Harry Potter, I thought, oh, I'll just have a look through this, kind of just to immerse myself a little bit more. Excuse me, quick slurp of tea. And I really found it a lovely read, an actual lovely sit down and read, not just to sit down and have a look at things, but actually a lovely sit down and read. It's just, I found it completely absorbing, and to see all the different aspects and to see where she had incorporated, you know, kind of real magic into the story, where she talks about magic, where she tried to base it into our reality. And that was just glorious. And there's enough in there that I didn't know, as much as I did know an awful lot, because I do have quite a lot of books on the history of magic itself. So an awful lot of it was what I already knew. But there were some things like the idea of talismans and kind of from Ethiopia, what the talismans are and what they look like. Excuse me, I'm going to... That wasn't very nice, excuse me. So there was more than I was expecting. And what was also lovely was just looking at it. And I think I've got out of the habit of just looking and properly looking at something, just taking time, looking at a picture and doing more than just a surface see. Actually allowing myself to look at the details and consider the details and get absorbed in the pictures, not just the words. I'm a very visual person, so I think in pictures and I can sense pictures. I'm very visual. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm not so comfortable reading graphic novels, because I feel that they stop. One of the things that I enjoy is the words, therefore create the pictures in my mind. And so when I'm looking at a graphic novel, I kind of feel as though some of that process has been blocked, because I don't then get absorbed into the visual thing. So I wondered if it would be like that with something like this. But actually, I felt like I was slowing down and really looking and really seeing more than I would have imagined that I could do, or imagined that I would. And I think I really slowed down when I was reading it. I'm a very quick reader. Partly that is because I read all the time and I'm always carrying a book with me. I've always got books around all the time and I make a point of reading all the time. And reading every day, and it is a priority for me in my life, is that I read. So it's something that it is part of my identity. I've spoken about this before, but it's part of my identity. It is who I am, even though I may not be reading all the books that I want to, or all the types of the books I want to. Part of my identity as a person is the fact that I'm a reader, and that I love books. So I concentrate and prioritise reading in my life. I don't watch a lot of television, so we don't watch series of things, and the occasional box set may cross us. Neither the husband or I are. The husband will watch for comfort more often than I will. I will always turn to reading for comfort. And so yeah, that's part of my reading. And also, the other thing that I do is that I don't verbalise when I read. So for a lot of people, when you read, you are actually saying the words in your head. That's how you're reading. Now, I don't do that. I don't verbalise the words when I read. I don't verbalise internally. I just read. It is a skill you can teach yourself. So my brother has actually, I know various other people have taught themselves, but my brother actually taught himself how to do this. Thinking it wasn't possible, but actually it is. There are ways that you can teach yourself to do it. And what it means is that you can get a lot of information a lot quicker. So you can read a lot more within an hour if you don't read it at speaking pace. I can just take a sentence in at a glance. And that's not to say, oh, look at me, I can take a sentence in at a glance. It is a knack. Now, I never taught myself to do this. I've always done it naturally. So I didn't know that this is what... I thought everybody did it. It's one of those things, if you do something or you've never been taught and you just do it, you just think, everybody does that. It was quite a shock to hear people say they read at speaking rate. I'm like, why would you do that? Because if ever I catch myself doing that, I find it so irritating. And I can just stop myself and go back to normal reading speed, which is a lot faster. So that's one of the reasons why I read so much. I can get through so many books in a time. God, tangent, come back. Get myself back from the tangent. So anyway, one of the things I can do is I can race through books, as you might be able to see. I can race through books, and I think, well, I know I can miss some of the details. So it's one of the things I miss about poetry, is that I can skip through words. Through reading, skim reading, you do tend to skim. You tend to skip through words in a way. You don't. Some of the words you don't slow down to take on board, or you don't see the flow of the language, or that kind of stuff. And so I think visually, what I was doing with this book was I was slowing down to look at the pictures, read the words quickly, but to look at the pictures, and it became a beautiful experience. I really enjoyed it, and I found it tremendously inspiring in some ways, like actually going on the studio tour. This isn't going to be a review of the studio tour, although I did think it was magical, and we want to go again. We want to go later in the year. It was the attention to detail and the attention to excellence. It wasn't enough to do it well. They had to do it to the utmost of their ability, and it was inspiring. It was inspiring that people were that dedicated and that committed, and they put all of themselves into it. I just thought it was beautiful. And I got this feeling from that book as well, looking at the artwork and looking at the visions behind it. And quite a lot of it's got included the Jim Kay illustrated books that have come out. The first 3 have come out, and Goblet of Fire is coming out later this year. Whoop, whoop. We'll be getting that. So it includes a lot of his drawings in here as well. Like here's one. This is Diagon Alley. So it's just beautiful. I can see it here. Let me move it. There we go. So yes, thoroughly enjoyed it. So that was those two. Give us a little kit of. If you're into Harry Potter, that's a really good one, and I've suggested for Ben actually to read it because he hasn't read it, and so I suggested to Benedict that he have a read of it. And I was thinking actually it's quite a nice, because I normally try and get him a little bit of something other than chocolate for Easter, so it's not just Easter eggs, not just all the chocolate that he would no doubt eat, but something like this where you can look through it. It is quite expensive though. What was it, $12.99? It's worth it though. I'm sure you can get it. You might be able to get it cheaper, but it's quite a nice kind of gift other than chocolate. Nice book. I would always say that about everything. Anyway, so what else have I read? So I read that, which was inspiring and marvellous, full of attention to detail, and then I read this. Yes, not inspiring, marvellous, and full of attention to detail. This is Michele Hauf, Beyond the Moon, and it is a Mills and Boon nocturne. I say. So I went to the library and I thought, I just have a little mooch around the library. I had 2 books that I need to return. So I took those back, went, thank you very much. Read one, the other one I didn't get into. I realised it was halfway through a series. I was like, oh, let's not read that. So I had a little mooch around and I picked up a couple of these. I don't think I've ever read, well, I've read lots of Mills and Boon, I hasten to say, but I don't think I've ever read any of the Nocturne. And this seems to be the paranormal romance section of Mills and Boon. Yes. And this is Beyond the Moon, and it was quite rubbish. Not gonna lie, it's quite rubbish. I think paranormal romance is actually quite tricky to write well. I think romance is tricky to write well. Let's be honest. There's an awful lot of romance out there that's not written well. And paranormal romance is even trickier in such a small little package, because you've got to do the whole of the kind of paranormal world, got to have a bit of conflict, a bit of a dilemma, and the romance and the saucy as well. That's a lot to try and get into one little book like this, I feel, and it wasn't entirely successful. I never warmed to the characters particularly, which is a bit of a hitch. I think they're standalones, but I think she must have written a lot, including in the same paranormal universe. And so, but it being a standalone, because the Mills and Boon books tend to be standalones, there was still quite a lot of explanatoriness going on. So there was a lot of explaining as to why he was like he was, and why she was like she was, and that's what that means, and that's who he is, and oh, look at this, and that's what they are, and this kind of stuff. So there's kind of time given over for that, and then the threat. There was a lot of kind of running around in heels, which I'm never keen on, and I really didn't. I really didn't, and this, yeah. So it was fine. I put it in my eyes, and it amused me for a day, and then I went, let's not read that again. So that's going to go back to the library. This was another one that I picked up from the library. The Oracle, an Ancient Prophecy, a Deadly Game, by Valerio Massimo Manfredi. Valerio. Now, that sounds like a lady. Valerio? No, it's a he. Do beg your pardon, it's a he. So, I picked this up purely on the cover. So, there we go. And it's an Ancient Prophecy, a Deadly Game. And I thought this looked like kind of adventure and kind of historical, magical artefact. Ancient Prophecy. She looks like she's running around, and it looks like, and I thought it'd be kind of thrillery and not particularly serious, and kind of like a Dan Brown, but not Dan Brown. That's kind of how I thought that. I didn't expect it to be marvellous, but I didn't expect it to be awful. What I really didn't expect it to be was brutal. So I got to probably about page 60 and bailed. Just went, oh no. It really brutal. I mean, really brutal. There is the violence in this. I was not. Look at that. Does that say to you this is going to be really brutal and violent? I does not. That cover does not say to me really brutal and violence, and the sexual violence as well. There's a time when you just go, oh no, I'm not. No, and by page 60, I was like, oh, no. So yes, yeah, no. Thought I'd bail on that one. So that was a bit of a surprise. I was looking for more kind of, and it wasn't. Anyway, so yeah, if you do like your thrillers to have a really brutal, nasty edge, here we are. The Oracle by Valerio Massimo Manfredi. That's not how you pronounce his name. I thought there was another one. I saw another one. See, they've got lots about kind of Pharaoh and the Ides of March and the Ancient Curse. So I was hoping I'd found an author that would give me lots of that kind of stuff, but no. Too nasty, quite frankly. And I'm going to end on a high, which is what I'm reading at the moment. This isn't going to be the only book that I'm reading, but I'm reading this. The Untethered Soul, A Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael A. Singer. This is published by New Books. New Harbinger. God, I can't read. New Harbinger? That doesn't sound right. It's Notic Books, Institute of Notic Sciences. Yes. So I bought this a while ago. I heard about Michael Singer quite a few years ago. It is part of the Mind, Body and Spirit section in your bookshop. It would go under New Thought, I would say. Very much with the Eckhart Tolle, New Earth, or The Power of Now. That kind of... or Gary Zukav, The Seat of the Soul, that kind of spiritual thought, new thought, not spiritual practices, because it doesn't actually feature any religious leanings or religious text, although it does refer to them. But it would be along that, it would be under that kind of, that section. Mind, Body and Spirit, spiritual thought is where I would say it would sit in a bookshop. And I can't remember where I heard about him from, although I do know he was on Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Sunday. So if you are interested in him, I know you can get podcasts of the Super Soul sessions or whatever, the Super Soul Sunday. And so he's under that. So if you're interested in what he has to say, I know she interviews him. I really liked them when they first started, Super Soul Sunday. We couldn't get them streamed, but you could watch them off her website in this country. And they've stopped doing that, and they only do tiny little clips. And I actually, every time I've seen a full episode recently, I found them a bit. I just don't think they're as in depth as they used to be. It used to be like a proper conversation, and now it feels like it's highlights. Anyway, tangent, come back. So I fancied one of his books because it is that kind of Gary Zukov and Eckhart Tolle and no, not Marianne Williamson, because she's very much A Course in Miracles, but it is that kind of Eckhart, and I read a lot of those kind of books. So I thought, I really fancy reading it because it sounds like he has a particular vision or a way of explaining it that I'd be really interested in reading about. So I kept an eye on this book and another one of his. I cannot remember what it's called. I do beg your pardon. He has got another book out. And it was quite expensive, and I couldn't ever find a copy that wasn't unexpensive. So this was £14, and it's a slim book. And I was like, oh, it's a bit of a kind of a punt on an author that you're just not sure of. But a couple of years ago, I thought, no, I will do it. And so I bought it, and I imagined that as soon as it came, I would read it, and I never did. And then it's been on my shelf here for the last couple of months because I moved it here so that I would see it and keep going, oh, I will read that at some point, and still didn't read it. Don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. Anyway, this week I just thought, no, I will read it. And I pulled it out and I started reading it, and it has been beautiful. It really has. When there's sometimes that you just hit upon the right book at the right time, and I needed something. I needed some kind of, I don't know whether it's kind of advice. It doesn't feel like advice. It feels like somebody giving you another way of looking at things, just a kind of and it isn't even another way, because there's nothing in here that I haven't already read in a lot of those other books. They're very much kind of, I was trying to explain it to the husband as to what it was, and it's like they all seem to be talking about jumpers, and it's just, this is the same jumper but a different colour, but it fitted me this week. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but it was the jumper I needed this week. It was the book I needed this week. It was the cup of tea when I was really thirsty. It was the seat when I was really tired, and it was just lovely. It's been gorgeous reading this book this week. It's felt like somebody's come along and just sat down next to me and gone, gosh, there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot that you're dealing with. How about doing this? Try this, and don't worry, And a lot of what he says is let go and release it. And people say, oh, let go, just let it go. Good title for a song, that. And I really have felt it. I have felt the information this week. I felt as though I was in the right state to hear it. I was utterly receptive. I was all ears to what he had to say. So it's a slim book. It's 190 pages. 190 pages. Oh, here we are. 180 pages even. And I'm 118 pages in. I could read it in a day, but I've not wanted to read it. I've wanted to let it settle as I've been reading it. And I can imagine that I'm not gonna move it from here. I'm gonna pop it back here, and I'm gonna keep on picking this up. There are some books that just you want to keep rereading, and you want to just have that little reminder of a way of being, of a way of looking. So I've really loved it. I really have. I can't recommend this enough. So it's The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself by Michael A. Singer. It's got the most beautiful horse running by the sea, which is where I would like to be. So it was the perfect, as soon as I pulled the book out, I thought, yeah, perfect for me. Perfect for me this week. This is what I need. And yeah, it's been a really powerful read. And for such a slim book, you expect the books that will impact you will be big and weighty, but sometimes it's the smaller ones. But yeah, really good, really recommend. So if you're interested in those kind of books and those kind of spiritual writings, it's a very no-nonsense, not highfalutin one. I've read Gary Zukav's The Seat of Your Soul, and I've read A New Earth, and I think I've read most of The Power of Now. I don't think I read it, and there's Beyond the Power of Now, and a lot of them. So I've read a lot of those, and sometimes you have to kind of wade through some of the terminology and how they put it, and it can feel like you can only take it in little bites because it's kind of a big banquet of a meal. Whereas this hasn't felt like that at all. It has literally just been the snack I needed whenever I needed it, or the comfy pillow when I wanted to go to sleep. It's been a lovely book this week. So yes, I shall be reading this for the rest of the week and really enjoying it. And yeah, highly recommend that. So ending on a Hawaii, that's what I've got going at the moment. Audio wise, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I'm going to do my podcast video in the next couple of days, tell you some podcasts I've been listening to. I'm also going to do another video for you, which I hope to have up. Hopefully I'll record it over the weekend, and so I'll put it up then. So yes, hopefully there's a couple of more videos for you. If you're interested in any of the books that I have mentioned, I'm going to put some affiliate links down in the description box below, because I am signed on and become an Amazon affiliate. So if you are a YouTuber and you want to do that, then if you go to Amazon, you can look at getting some affiliate links. What that means is if you were interested in any of the books and you wanted to buy them via Amazon, you can do it through the link on my description box, and it doesn't cost you any more, but I get a little bit of commission for recommending it, and that will keep me and my family in more books. So yeah, so I thought, well, that's an opportunity, considering how many books I talk about. I shall do that as well. So yeah, so I hope you don't mind. There's going to be that in the description box below, and then that's it, friends. That's all I've got for you today. I have been talking for ages. Oh my word. Been talking all the Harry Potters. I thought I'd talk a lot more about the romance book, but I had other stuff, you see. Other stuff to talk about, and there we go. There we are, my friends. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, whatever it is that you're doing, and I hope that I get to see you again next week.